let's call, I call to order the Municipal Audit Committee meeting, and let's do the introduction, then we'll start on this side.
Elizabeth Jensen, Clerk's Office.
Mike Chadwick, Internal Audit.
Peter Atkins, Internal Audit.
George Michaelis, Municipality.
Lucinda Mahoney, CFO.
Amy Domboski.
L.B. Gray Jackson,
Big
Audit
Training
Committee-
Assembly.
Audit Committee Chair.
I'm not a member, I'm just here.
And you can be here, anybody can be here. Okay, as everybody knows, the purpose of this meeting is the code requires us to review the internal auditor's annual audit plan and then endorse it and then submit it to the Assembly and the Mayor for approval. So Pete, the floor is yours.
Mike, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the audit plan is based on some requests for departments and some items that we felt needed audited because they've been audited a long time.
Okay. And since we have some time, Pete, can I ask you to go over what the audits are?
Sure.
For
Okay.
2013, thank you.
So we have some continued audits from 2013. First was the clerk's office, as requested by the Assembly. And we were looking at the election process, but we were asked to hold off because of the upcoming election, so we'll look at that later. We have accounts payable, that audit's completed, and we have the draft report that we're discussing right now.
Accounts payable or receivable?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Leftover.
Oh, okay, leftover stuff, I'm sorry.
Performance measures, we did not do it. We talked to the administration and there really wasn't that much concern right now, so we're not going to do that one. Vehicle maintenance work orders, we have a draft audit report that we're discussing on that one. Then the parts and fuel inventories, transit, and water utility, they're finished and we're working on draft reports. We're still waiting for some data from transit. Then for this year, we have a police department front counter cash controls. We picked that one because there is some concern about revenue coming in from the police department. So I just want to see how things are being done over there. Water utility, these are two requested audits. That we put in here, inventory controls, the levy point connection. Then there's another request from the clerk's office to do another audit on another portion of the clerk's office. So we'll go back into that later on in the year.
What portion is that, if you don't mind me
It comes
asking?
from the clerk.
I'm sorry?
It comes from the clerk and the chairman.
Right, but you said there's an audit on another portion of the clerk's office.
Right.
Can you be a little more specific?
I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
They broke it apart like in 3, 4 different pieces. That
Okay.
includes the ombudsman's office also. But we will get to those.
So it's not just the clerk's office, it's clerks, which is separate, and the ombudsman?
Well, these two are going to be strictly clerk's office.
Okay.
Next year, I think there's going to be ombudsman also.
Gotcha, just wanted some clarity, Pete, thank you.
We're just going to look at accounts receivable in finance. We haven't looked at that in a long time, and we just want to see if they're, how they're coming, if they're ready for the conversion. So. Health and Human Services, those are two requests from that department. One's on the Anchorage Senior Center, and the other one's Animal Care and Control Center. They don't have too many big concerns, but they just haven't had anything to look at for quite a while, so.
It's been quite a while, so, makes sense.
Yeah.
Animal Control has had a very, very good contract administrator who's been doing this for many years. So,
Diane,
Petco?
Deanne?
yeah, Deanne Petco.
Yeah.
So you never see them on the front page anymore. Before she took over, it's always on the front page. She's done a great job, so we'll see. Here's land bank. We want to look at municipal leases. We haven't looked at those either. Last time we looked at municipal leases, they were a real mess. There was really nobody charged them, so, but that's been how many years ago?
About 7 years ago.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at it.
Right. Just a question. So what, do you actually get into the lease itself and look at terms, or
We
what?
want to
what-
see if they're expired. We found a bunch of them expired that never been renewed. So people
Oh.
are living and staying in buildings that weren't, there's no contract in place or lease in place and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just want to see if the lease is current and who's administrating it.
Okay.
And there's, what, about 70 or 80 leases out there, so. And Municipal Power, this was requested by them. It's on the South Central Power Project O&M costs. they ask us to look at get their partners, every so often, to make sure that they're not being overcharged and everything's all right.
Another question. So are you going to go into Chugach's books and do the audit there?
We're going to look at the billings, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we'll trace it.
Right, good.
Then the Port of Anchorage, this is another requested audit, fuel, volume, accounting, and billing. They've had a considerable drop in their fuel revenue, and they just like to make sure that
Just trying to make sure that the fuel providers are being honest,
right, the Flint Hills
Makes sense.
because it's self-reporting,
right.
so that's a concern.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The solid waste services, this is an audit, we've never looked at their vehicle maintenance shop, but we drove out there a month or so ago, and it's huge, because they got a lot of garbage trucks, and they got semis and heavy loaders. So we just want to see what it's like, and we did find some issues on our vehicle maintenance shop, so we just want to see how they're doing over there. I think it's a big operation. Then we got 3 sunset audits to do this year. The Housing and Neighborhood Development Corporation, our commission, Public Safety Advisory Commission, and the Watershed Natural Resources Advisory Commission. Then we always put in audits that are kind of basically routine things that we might want to look at someday, if we have time. We always do procurement card program. But we brought in a new system this year, just Monday, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Then the special studies, we got a couple of them on there. One is APD converted property. This is property that APD can pull out of their property room for their use. And it's supposed to go back to the property room and be auctioned off when they get done with it. We just haven't looked at that to see if that's working or not. They take a lot of stuff out of there. We are involved when they take drugs out for training their dogs.
Mhm.
So they have a really tight controls over that.
Mhm.
But the other property we haven't looked at. And the IACP sexual harassment audit that was done by a contractor, they recommended we do a follow-up to make sure that stuff were implemented. So we're in the process of looking at that.
And I have a suggestion, Pete, if the audit committee agrees, can you, I mean, because if you look at this, you really don't know what it is, and you just said it's a follow-up on the sexual harassment, and I'd like to see that in the topic here when you just work for the rest of the body.
Well,
Exactly what it is, unless there's an issue with doing that.
Well, we kind of didn't want to bring it up with people's concerns again, so we kept the name out. It was a sore point in the community. We settled some lawsuits over it. So I can put it in if the audit committee wanted to.
It was a result of Rollins' case, and
Right.
we asked IACP to come in and see what they do in other cities and where do we compare.
Okay.
And in some areas we're very good, some areas, we could be better.
Right.
So they made some recommendations. And
One
we
of the things
implemented.
was to put in canvas and all the cars. Well, you ought to simply just approve the contract.
Right.
Another
So,
one was to bring in Facebook, and thank you, Lucinda. We got put in the website now. You got involved in that. Appreciate that.
and then
We've
Cam,
been able to get that done by IT. Lucinda interceded, and now we got Facebook and Twitter on the municipal website.
and then cameras in the substations.
Right.
Recommendation
Right.
also called for an education piece to officers. It also called for better supervision of officers that's on a special detail, because Rollins, at the time that these incidents occurred, was on a special detail. So he was kind of outside of the supervisory chain on those particular shifts. So it tightened that up as well. So there was a whole bunch of
Right. And personally, I understand the sensitivity, and if anybody wants any clarification, so be it. Are you done, Pete?
That's it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Any more suggestions for the audit plan?
Well, I do. Do you have some?
I'll let you go first.
No, you go first, please.
I'm probably gonna bring up a touchy subject maybe, but Madam Chair, what I'm concerned about, and I know I've had discussions with Lucinda about this, and she alleviated many of my concerns, but I still keep hearing employees talking about not getting paid in a timely fashion. And I don't know how that might work into an audit or not, like an audit of payroll late payments.
Mhm.
I'm still concerned about it, because I still, just last week, I got hit by 2 more people that said it to me.
Mhm.
Now, you know, it's anecdotal, and I talked to Lucinda about it,
Mhm.
but I'm getting to a point where I don't really know what to say. I mean, payroll says they're on time, or they have very few people that are being paid late.
Mhm.
So I just want to bring it up, just for you to kick around.
And I appreciate you bringing it up, and the bottom line is, it's nothing personal at all, but there is an issue. I'm hearing the same things you are, believe me. And so, how can we address that, Pete?
We did about 6 months ago, we were asked by the fire department to look into this, and we did. We pulled one complete pay period, and we analyzed it, and there were many errors. Since that study, payroll, they hired a person in payroll to go to review all the transactions before they hit. And we got our understanding that most of the stuff got corrected. It was more of a programming issue. The interface between Telestaff and Kronos and PeopleSoft.
There's no
And-
interface
and
between
that-
Kronos and PeopleSoft.
Oh,
There's no interface between Kronos and
No,
PeopleSoft.
but it was a telestat.
It was an issue and it's been
Right,
resolved.
but the
between
three
Telestaff and
three
Kronos.
things were, yeah. So, because of the SAP implementation coming up, those people are so busy right now. I'd hate to get it.
Well, and I'm sure it'll change again
Don't
next
you agree,
year.
Lucinda?
Yeah.
As SAP goes forward, I'm sure it'll change again. That's why I don't know if this is something, I think the story's gonna be different in 6 months from maybe what it is today. So I'm not sure how to address it. If you say, okay, let's just let SAP and Kronos go forward and get everything implemented and then take a snapshot of it next year, I'm not sure.
Well,
Would
did
you
you
like
have
to
something
see
you
a
wanted to
demo?
say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that getting people paid accurately and timely is the most important
Oh, yeah.
thing.
But that's what you told me.
And I really personally I just cringe when I hear about problems with employees, because I want them, everybody wants them to be paid accurately and timely. We've hired more staff in the payroll department to address this, and the goal is for them to be on top of issues before they become negative and before they become a grievance, because we don't want that. I mean, it's super negative in regard to morale, and we don't want that. So we've hired more people, and the intent is, and so let me say that what I'm doing now is tracking the number of pay corrections, and as you and I talked, many times the pay corrections are submitted to the payroll department, and there's a lot of errors on it, and so the payroll department can't even begin to correct it until the information goes back to the employee so that they can understand that. So we're working really hard to really make it better. My goal is to be able to track this so that it goes down to nothing, and then we can manage the reduction of staff through attrition. And that's really, really important.
And I assume part of one of those factors to help mitigate the errors is why you're switching from 5 days to 12 days.
Yes.
In order to do that. That's why
Yes.
I'm kind of on that, like, I think if we look at it now, we're going to identify problems they're already working on, but at the same time, I think there are steps to try to address it, but I just, anecdotally, it's hard when people keep coming to you saying it. 'Cause
And you know what I would suggest is if people come to you, any of you three, and you should either refer them to Tony. If they've already talked to Tony and they're getting nowhere with Tony, refer them to me, because I really do care.
Tony and payroll.
Yeah, and if they're not getting responses from Tony, you can just refer them to me.
What's Tony's last name?
Crockish.
And let me tag on to that. Okay, I share the same concerns, because I have a lot of conversations, and I believe Mr. Trainee does also. So here we are at the audit committee meeting, reviewing the audit plan for 2014. And Pete, I don't know if you've heard from any of us on adding, no, okay, so fine. If you want to add an audit to this plan, now is the time to do it so that we don't have to come back and revise the plan. So if you want to add it, I support you on that, and, you know, so you just need to speak up if that's what you want to do right now. Go ahead, Pete.
Part of the problem was that the fire department lost their internal payroll people. So the positions got cut. And the person that ended up doing payroll was not a payroll person.
Was not
She
trained.
came out of accounts payable or something, didn't she?
And the
So
thing-
there's a lot of things that happened with the fire department.
Yeah, it's not just the fire department though, Pete, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have a comment, Amy, and then Lucinda?
I'll follow that.
Okay, go ahead, Lucinda.
I mean, I think we had talked once before about after we go live, I really would like an audit
Okay,
as soon
we
as
can do that.
possible, because if there are any type of errors that are going on, we want to be on top of it immediately.
Okay.
And so to the extent that, you know, once we go live, if within, you know, there's going to be bumps, there's no doubt, it's going to be really difficult.
Okay.
There's no doubt. But maybe what we do is we decided as a group is that within 60 days of stability, because who knows, you know, what that point will be, you guys come in and do an audit.
Okay.
And then that way, we all can be assured that all the configurations are working correctly and
Okay.
people are getting paid right.
Okay, we'll add it.
Yeah, I
Does
think,
that work?
I think
Yes.
that would be exactly, because it kind of helps us get into the, okay, we know we're moving forward and we're having a change, but we want to make sure that all these problems are identified. And when's the go live? Were we thinking July?
We're hoping for July.
Yeah.
The
How-
good thing is that we now have the expertise. It took us quite a while to figure this thing out, but my auditor that did it really got into it, and she understands it now. So it'll be a lot quicker than it took us the first
Yeah.
time.
Good.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we add this to the audit plan in the manner that the CFO has indicated, 60 days.
Okay, somebody gonna second that?
I'll second.
Okay. Is everybody approve of that adding as another committee? Okay.
Is this AFD only, or just?
No, it's the whole
Citywide.
city,
The whole
citywide,
city.
citywide.
We want everything right.
Right,
That'll be a big
right,
one.
right. So, do you have any comments on that, Pete?
No, I think
Okay, great.
it's a good idea to do it after it.
Okay, any other comments? Dick?
Just there's been enough problems when we have this one hiccup, I think in March, isn't it, Lucinda, where there's one pay period that's gonna be shorter this year because of the way we changed the
Yeah.
system. So for those that are missing a paycheck, it just compounds that. So if you could do this, we'd really appreciate it, because we all get calls. And it may be just anecdotal, but we'd like to know who's saying truth or who to
And I
make
think-
sure we correct it.
Yeah, I think this will help identify quickly, especially if it's right after the go live period, you know, within a short.
Yeah, I mean, we want to, like I said, we want to be on top of it. I mean, we're going to do as much, I mean, we've already started testing. And we're going to do parallels, and we've got all of this mitigation in place. But, you know, we can still miss things.
Sure.
Well, since we're talking about payroll, and since Dick mentioned March 14th, you may already know this, because I think I asked the question when we were having a presentation. Well, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but with the March 14th, 1 week's pay, there's not going to be enough money for my deferred compensation payment to my loan. And I mentioned it to Nancy when she was here, and I've been talking to folks from ER, and the last conversation I had was about a month ago. And I am sure that I'm probably not going to be the only person with the same issue, but that's a problem. So
So I
just
would
putting a bug in your ear.
Yeah, I would suggest you circle back with Nancy about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
She's-
doing.
Yeah, she's managing.
Well, she hasn't come back, she hasn't responded. They haven't responded to me yet. And since Dick brought it up, I just thought I'd mention it, just
Okay.
bugging your ear, but
I'll mention it to her.
yeah. Okay, anyway, if there's no other comments, can I have a motion to endorse internal audit plan for 2014 and submit it to the Assembly and Mayor for approval?
I make that motion.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, everybody approve of that? Okay, great, thank you. So if there's no other comments, our meeting's adjourned, and thank you for everybody for being here.